Welcome to the Autism Advocate Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Hales. If you're looking for tips on how to advocate for and understand your autistic child in a more meaningful way, you've come to the right place, and we're so happy to have you join us. Hello, hi there, welcome back. I'm sorry I had to make this into a two-parter, but again, I wanted this podcast Mondays and Wednesdays to be something you could listen to in the bathroom while you're getting ready for the day. Quick, succinct, really memorable things that will stick with you. So let me just refresh you on the question. And I'm going to skip all the very nice things this person said about how they enjoy my videos and how kind and gracious they are. Mom to an autistic child, started a certain grade in a certain area. And what they are having feedback from the teachers is that they are often avoiding unpreferred tasks by saying, I don't care, or boring, over and over. And that is a new tactic for them to avoid those unpreferred tasks that are mild and highly unpreferred. So it seems like the parent is surmising. It seems like they are trying very hard to not participate, but still they are engaging, which gives her hope, the parent hope. But what can we do now? So I talked about some other things in the previous episode. Hopefully you saw that. To continue onward, let me find. Okay. So the last thing that I touched on in the previous episode was reinforcing that it's okay to find an activity boring and still doing it. Also to say, I don't want to, or I don't care. It's okay to not care about an activity and to still do it. That doesn't mean that it should be pressured or forced. Those kinds of things and associations with participating in an activity are not okay. But how many boring things or things that you don't care about are necessary for you to do every day in your life? Now, again, we discussed last time increasing gradually their tolerance for those activities. So it doesn't have to be an all at once thing. In fact, I would encourage you not to do all at once, setting your child up for failure in that way and creating a big aversion to, gosh, I'm already failing at practicing failing. How much more of a failure can I be, right? So again, 30 seconds. Increase that to 45. Increase that to 60 as they are successful multiple times. So if you attach, and this depends on the cognitive abilities of your child, if you attach some information about the logical reasons that your child is being taught these lessons in this way, a lot of times they have this internal acceptance moment of, okay, well, I don't love this, but that makes sense, so I'll go along with it. So what are some things in life, for example, that we find boring or we don't care about that we still need to do? So that might sound like, oh, you think it's boring, huh? I hear that. Every year I have to do something called taxes. Have you ever heard of that? Oh my gosh, it is boring and I don't care about it, but it's something I have to do. And let me tell you, friend, if we could only do what we wanted in life, wouldn't that be great? I would love that. So I want to help teach you how to do things that aren't super fun to do. Wah, wah, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So hopefully that gives you some ideas on verbiage on how to approach and sympathize with what the child is feeling and expressing. It's also important to learn that the feelings that they are having are fine. It's okay to feel bored. It's okay to say, I don't care. Now, where it comes down to where, not that it's not okay, but where we're hoping to get is that not only does your child feel that it's boring, and they are more than welcome to express that appropriately, they feel like, I don't care about this, and they can express that verbally and appropriately, but in spite of it being boring and that they don't care, that they still try their best at the task, right? So there are some things we can do. Basic teaching skills would say, how can we make this more fun and appealing? We already talked about breaking things into smaller chunks. It could just be, this is so big and overwhelming, I don't even know where to start. But to avoid saying that, or maybe I can't even surmise with myself that that's what I'm feeling, I'm just going to say it's boring, or I'm just going to say I don't care, right? But again, the other thing that you can say is you can completely validate how they feel. You don't need to change that your child feels bored. You don't need to convince them that they do care. You don't need to convince them that their feelings are incorrect. Feelings, in my opinion, which I think is a correct opinion, are not positive or negative. They are neutral. They are just feelings. It's like your skin color. It's not a positive or a negative. It is just an existence. So when you start attaching value, meaning ethical value, morality, to feelings, we start getting into trouble. Okay? And so when we try to convince the child, no, it's not boring, see? It's not boring, then the child only focuses on being heard. They're not being heard. They're not being understood. My first line of agenda, the first thing I need to get done is make sure this adult understands me. I'm not being heard and understood. You can't move on to the next step in that way. So you can absolutely say, it's boring. I hear that. Oh, you don't care about this? Yeah, I hear that. You know what? I got to do stuff I don't care about too. And it is not fun. You know what? I really care about you. And I care about your ability to do stuff in life that you don't care about. I know, isn't that crazy? But like paying bills, man, that is a bummer. But you know what? I bet when you get older and you enter that adult world that you want to know how to do that. And not just how to do it, but like be able to do stuff that you think is boring and you don't care about. You know what I mean? Also, what's really important is focusing on the fun things that you do in your life. Because when you get to be an adult, it can be hard sometimes because you're doing a lot of boring stuff, right? So let's find something fun for you to do too. So how about after this, when we're done with 60 seconds of this task, I would love to sit down and discuss with you some of your most absolute favorite things ever, okay? Because that's important when you're a grown-up too. So if you can sandwich it or accompany it with something that's really desirable, fun, helps the kids see that you care about them, that this is coming from a place of affection and you're not trying to change them. You're trying to help them as they are, who they are, to grow, to build a tolerance. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you so much for your question, dear friend, and I'm rooting for you.
Want to submit a question? Email us at the Autism Advocate Podcast at gmail.com. Follow our social media outlets and check out our shop featuring my Autism Acceptance, Children's Illustrated books, and other fun autism acceptance items. Don't forget, I'm rooting for you, and we'll see you next time.